Yo, this is In
Facts
Chats, and we are in our home, which is the Cube. It's London home for creators. It's for podcasters, artists, musicians, producers, all of that. It's all about recording your art and getting paid for it.
Ooh, and if you want a free month at the Cube, all you have to do is visit thecube.com, QUBE.com. You'll see that down below, and enter In Facts into the referral field, and you'll get your first month for free. This episode contains some information listeners may find unsettling.
Cool, yeah. Sweet. Enjoy that. Bon appetit.
My intuition's telling me I'll never listen to myself. I should probably listen to myself. That position I was in, if I'd have listened, maybe I could help.
Boom! This is
In
Facts.
Chats with myself, Lemzi, that's Lemzi, the Gemini.
Myself, Amelia Poamz, that's Poamz, the Pisces.
Ooh, we got through that.
Wow,
Damn.
we're rusty.
Yeah, rusty.
It's been
This is
a
gonna be
long
a great
time.
episode.
We're talking over each other.
Can
Yeah,
you
it's been a long
just,
time.
You know, just
No, but yeah, sorry guys. We'd like to firstly apologise to our avid listeners,
Yep.
whether you watch it on YouTube, whether you listen on Apple, Spotify, whatever.
all
We did take a break. It's mainly Lemzi's fault because he turned 30
Yes.
and the world had to stop.
it did. I had a great time. In fact, you can ask me the question and we can go into it.
Oh, so sorry. Okay. Lemzi, how are you? Really?
I am really, really, really good. Yeah, the season that we were off, apologies again everybody, but the season that we were off between end of May up to beginning of July was like a real season of joy for me. You know, I was just experiencing life. Went to Miami. Yeah, I know. Went to Barcelona. Went to a couple music festivals. Turned 30. A lot was happening. Barbecues.
Standing on tables and
Standing
clubs.
on tables, bottles. Like, I was doing lifestyle for a month.
Yeah.
Probably just a month. So I experienced lifestyle and I was like, I need some more of that at some point. But right now, my bank account is very much saying...
I was thinking like,
Sit
bro,
down.
it's going to run out at some point.
Yo, it ran out before it even ended.
Yeah.
So right now, I'm very much doing the opposite, where it's like, all right, let me just be very as disciplined as I can. So we got the water,
We're drinking a water.
holding onto the water, making sure I bring in my packed lunch to work.
Oh, yep. Save them pennies.
Yes, 100%.
Rice and stew.
Rice and stew, pasta. I'm not gonna lie, it's mainly just pasta.
Okay, but today is rice and stew.
Jeez, come
Yeah.
on, thank you, Mum, thank you, Dad. Nah, that's the vibes today. But yeah, no, overall, I'm very, very good. And plus, the sun is shining.
It is.
I find it hard to be.
excruciatingly.
No, but
Oh no, it's
I
nice.
need it. Yeah, I feel like it's harder for me anyway to be not in a good place when the sun is
Yeah,
shining.
I feel you. You feel more motivated.
Yeah.
Like the days feel like days. Do you know what I mean?
And do you know, even if it's like, I'm not doing that today, I feel like I'm alright in doing that. Like, I
Yeah.
can just chill because it is hot.
Yeah,
It's
I
a
feel
lot.
you. So you turn 30. Is there anything? Obviously, we all know you don't fucking like overnight just wake up like, ugh, I feel different. But 30 is a staple. Like it's a staple age. You're on level 3 now.
No,
Like, would you say that? I don't know. Anything for you is gonna change. Like, have you made any decisions about your 30s?
Yeah, I think a couple of things are currently in the works. So I definitely want to, within the next 6 months, I would love to be able to say, cool, started for a mortgage. That would be amazing.
Jeez.
I started counselling as well, actually.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. That's just happened.
Look at this.
I know
Because
there's
when we
a few
started this
things,
pod,
like-
I started therapy.
I know.
Now you're on the counselling. Look at us,
tip, so
holistic. This
I'm
is
like,
why
this
you
is
listen
it.
to us. We're not toxic.
Trying and learning not to be.
Exactly.
But yeah, those are like the two integral things. And then at the beginning of the pod when we first started, hey guys, new music.
Oh, yeah.
It's coming. All this new music. Well, we are at completion stages now, isn't it? So there's no dates, there's no nothing. But that is actually going to happen as well. That's not because I'm 30, but that's just something that's currently going to happen. But you know what? I actually feel 30 is sick. So far,
It is.
I'm really enjoying this 30th, you know.
You're
like,
actually 30.
this, the anticipation of turning 30, get that away. I was so happy when I was
Yeah,
done.
yeah.
Like, because I did build it up like 30, you know, you still live at home with your parent, or 30, where's all your da-da-da, or 30, there's no relation, people, oh, you getting married soon, all of this stuff, like, but now I'm there, it's kind of like, no guys, nope, that hasn't happened, sorry, but it will, and it's really just on me in terms of what I want to do, hence why, like, cool, that, say, the mortgage thing that's my idea, the counselling thing, that's for me, anything else, I'm making sure it's for me, and just rolling with that. So I'm in a good spot, man.
I love that for you. Rolling with the homies. Anyone that watched Clueless growing up, people knowing in this fucking room as, but
I watched Clueless, but not
rolling with the homies. I remember that. No,
okay. I'm sorry, man.
All right, well,
anyway, yeah, that's me.
You look radiant. You look happy. Good.
The vitamin D.
We done up enjoyment, which I was happy about.
Like, calm down a little bit, not fully, but a little bit.
I feel you.
But yes, Amelia.
Do you
my
care?
wonderful co-host who was with me through a lot of the enjoyment. It was almost like both of our birthdays for some of it.
Yeah.
How are you? Really?
I'm good. I feel like I'm in a good space. I almost feel like, I don't know why, I think with you turning 30, I'm like, right, okay, let me get a heads up on me turning 30. So I'm kind of like, I don't know, I've kind of given myself like this like 7 month window where I just want to start adapting more, I guess, healthy habits. Then when I go into my 30s, it doesn't feel like such a like, shit. Because also there's actual like physical things that you start to notice as you're getting older. Like my metabolism isn't what it used to be. Like my joints are hurt. Like I'm clocking certain things of like, basically you lay the foundations down in your youth of like how you're going to be in your older years. And I feel like you still have a bit of time when you're just turning 30 to be like, right, let me just make sure that like when I'm 50, I don't have like this wrong with me and that wrong with me. So I'm trying to like adapt healthier ways. And also mindset as well, like.
What kind of stuff? Like what's the adaptations?
Well, I'm basically, what I've stopped doing now is like being like, oh, okay, I'm going to blitz at the gym for like 1 month for this event coming up. And then the minute I mess it up after like a week, then I'm like, oh, well. But why am I like looking at it as just like 1 month? Why am I not just like, okay, over like 7 months? Like, you know, you're going to have a few hiccups here and there, but it's more of a long game. So then it starts just to become like, because the thing is, gym's always been a part of my life, but I have like massively fallen off. Like in uni, because there was fucking nothing else to do, I used to go all the time. But like, I just want to kind of get back into that balance of enjoyment. Like I don't want it to be one or the other. Do you know what I mean? Whether I'm banging out gym, can't go out, or I'm going out and I'm not going to the gym. So I want it to be like both, basically. But yeah, just like, just taking care of myself, basically.
Oh, I love that. I love that for both of us, you know, innit? Come on.
And also, I paid off on my credit card debt, which I'm big. Like,
That's really big.
It is, because that debt was following me for fucking too long.
Now it's gone. Goodbye.
I fucking
well done.
Debt-free, obviously, minus student finance, because what the fuck is that? But debt-free, baby.
Come on.
And I have no intention of racking up that debt again.
No, please don't as well.
No, and also my credit score is looking very healthy.
I need to recheck, man.
No, mine is higher than average. Like, it's higher than everyone else in my area.
Is it green? Like, you know, it's red, amber. Is it green?
Clear School's not showing me that. Okay, but it was saying it's like soaring high. That's
no, you're good then. If they're using words like that.
So I'm like, obviously, eventually when I try and get that mortgage and out, obviously it shouldn't be too helping. But anyway, freelance life will probably fuck that up because it's hard to get a mortgage when you're freelance.
You're gonna run it up.
Yeah, no. But anyway.
Success.
Long story short, I'm good.
Good.
Also, a lot of people have been telling me I'm glowing, so I hope that's testament to like.
Do you feel like you are?
Yeah. Do you know what? I went away. So obviously, before I went to Mexico, my mental was in the pits of hell or whatever's below that because I was.
Some of the voice notes.
I was very agitated. I was like annoyed. All of that. Went away. Got very much reminded that the world is bigger than London. My problems are like, they're not bigger than me. And I just had a big perspective check where I was like, do you know what? In like about 2 years, if I wanted to pack up my stuff and leave and move to another country, I fucking could. And I could start again. So yeah, it just a big perspective check. Came back, went to loads of festivals, had a fucking whale of time.
Great time.
Had a great time. And I guess Amelia Stella got a groove back.
That's
so
good.
No,
that's good. I'd take a sip because I'm still on the previous sip. But anyway, we're here.
On that note, enough about us.
For real, because we've got a wonderful, amazing guest in the building.
Yes.
very excited to have a great conversation with
Host, actress, creative, inspirational person.
For real.
We're going to welcome to the sofa,
Lizzie. Hey.
Right. Well, we have to always start
Yeah.
with a check-in. So, Lizzie, how are you?
I am very,
Really?
Really?
Ooh,
Really?
the really,
Yeah.
yeah, the
Sorry.
really.
I am well.
Good.
I'm
Good.
very, very well. I said good, but I'm well.
What's the difference?
Yeah.
Good is... I know what well is.
Okay.
Like,
go for
well
that.
is literally that sense of at peace internally. That's what I feel like well is. Good is, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So good
okay.
is almost like, yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah,
kind
I'm
of thing.
fine. Yeah, it's like external, but like, I feel like it's more like external or internal for me.
Almost like you say, I'm doing good as opposed to
Yeah.
I'm feeling well.
It's more like an action. Well, it's more like
Okay,
an internal
yeah.
sort
Yeah.
of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
like
guess
how you
that's
just
it.
went down for
Yeah,
yourself.
yeah.
I like that.
Come
No,
on,
that makes
we
sense.
did it.
Yeah, this is the whole point of how are you really?
Yeah,
Just to kind of
facts.
like
Like, what
really
is it? Yeah,
understand
really.
how you are.
Yeah, well.
So good. So thank you for joining us today.
Having me.
Obviously, we want to understand your creative journey and everything that's kind of happened along that. So obviously, we've introduced you as a presenter, actress, creative. Where did it actually start for you? What came first?
Acting came first.
Okay.
Nice.
And when did you feel that you had a love of acting and wanting to go down that path?
Oh, a very, very, very young age. Primary school. I was involved in a lot of like creative stuff. So I went to a lot of like drama clubs. I went to Stagecoach.
Oh yeah, stage coach. I feel like that's a throwback.
Yeah, like dancing, singing, and
Yeah,
acting.
yeah.
And then we'll have like a little performance at the end of like Alice in Wonderland and all those plays. I did quite a lot. Got into like Half Moon Theatre.
That's another throwback.
Really?
I don't know any of these ones.
I feel like, well, remember, I had
Yeah,
my
you were in
acting
that,
like
yeah.
thing as well. But yeah, I feel like, yeah, okay, go on.
Yeah. Was the first ever Black Mary in the nativity play in primary school. Yeah,
Nice,
that was a
nice,
big
nice,
achievement.
innit?
Thank you very much. Thank you.
In your primary school, that is, yeah?
Yeah,
Sick.
yeah.
I played Mary as well, you know. First
Is
ever
it?
mixed race Mary.
Hey, you lot.
But yeah, okay.
Changing the game.
Mary's Unite, yeah. But okay, so yeah, so obviously that was a very, very young age. And then,
I just feel like since then, like just being in the zone, my mom, family, just parents, like, oh, she's got this fire, she's got this personality about her. So mum would just like push me and encourage me to do things further.
Nice.
So obviously got into half moon, like into like early secondary school.
Is that,
and then
sorry,
it just,
is that something you have to apply to get into Half Moon? or-
it was more like a weekly drama class.
Okay.
And they would put us into groups of maybe like age. It was more age. Was it age or was it? No, it was definitely like age groups. And then we'll do sharings at the end of each term, and then they would take us to like the National Theatre to go and watch shows and stuff. And it was going to the National and seeing a play, a stage adaptation of Terry Pratchett's The Nation. There's a book called The Nation, and just seeing so much colour, so much costume, culture. And the concept was all about spirituality as well. It was just so beautiful, and I could see myself in that.
Wow.
And I remember saying, no, I want to be a part of that. I want to see my work on the stage.
Sick.
Which sent me in a different direction. So I was obviously acting on the side, but then I was also writing stuff. I'd be the person that will gather the cousins together before Christmas and put on some little productions for the parents to go and watch.
Every generation has that, you know? I was
was me
roped
as
into
well.
so many family plays. I think I did The Matrix, best stuff, man. Yeah, we did loads. Right, big up my cousins and siblings. Yeah, go on, sorry, carry on.
So I feel like I wasn't just caught up on like one thing, like acting and then writing, and I call myself a storyteller. And I'm still learning more about my abilities, you know, when I think it's just acting. I'm like, oh, I've got ideas too, so I write them down and I'm connected with someone else and we make it happen. filming, it's poetry, it's so many, even art. I can paint, I can do all these different things. So I'm learning so much about myself just by putting myself out there, trying something, and imagine crossing paths with you through something completely different, and then it sent me in a different direction. So I'm just going with it. So yeah, I call myself a storyteller as opposed to being just an actor.
That's
or
amazing.
A writer,
Are you like thinking about how can I compartmentalize my storytelling? I.e., would you like to focus on any of them in particular? Maybe being an author and publishing a book, or maybe, okay, I really want to double down on being a director and writing plays, or are you very happy with like spreading it across?
I'm very happy with spreading it across, because I feel like personally for me, once I try to narrow it down to one thing, or I mean, you know, that's that quote, or jack of all trades, that haunted me for a very long time, because I felt like I had a lot of people that, I mean, looking back, they probably thought they had my best interest at heart, but it felt like, no, focus on one thing. And I felt it became more like a prison. Like I felt like I needed to define myself, and I was left feeling really stuck. And it wasn't until I broke free from that, no, let me try this and let me do this. It sent me, I felt like it was more flowy. It was more flowing. So yeah, with me, it's more of a, I can't focus on one thing.
Just one thing,
I just can't do it.
But acting was like, I guess, was it like almost your pathway into
definitely
other ways? How was that also for you? Because even I know through like me wanting to be an actress as well, it's hard to even know what to do and like what to do next and like where to go, and then it's like you see the vision of yourself on the stage, on the big screen, but how do you get from sitting in the audience to being on stage? Like was your school like telling you how to do it? Like how did you find out how you actually follow that through?
Oh, that's a very, very...
It's two good questions.
What are you saying? 2-0? I'm coming.
For me, acting wasn't a separate thing for myself. It was, I felt like I was just learning more about me. You know, I think that's where like there's a lot of people get confused. It's pretending. It's not pretending.
Right.
And even when you go to like drama schools or whatever, you start to realize that it's literally human beings trying to learn how to do life behind it, like embodying characters, you know. So for me it was more, okay, I had these drama clubs to go to and I really just enjoyed playing. It's a game of yes and, you know, it's the, okay, you've given me a scenario, I'm just going to run with it. It's not me pretending to be someone, it's me, Lizzie, doing an activity. Right. It just so happens that you've given me a police costume and I'm just going with it. Yeah, maybe I might have watched the film and seen how police officers, you know, so there's a few facts in there, you know, like show me your badge and all that stuff, but it's me just going with it until I come across something new that will inspire, you know. But it's just, I think one thing is being open. Number two would be understanding who you are first. Once you understand who you are, you're able to almost embody another character, and that also ties in with casting. If you don't know who you are, you don't know what kind of characters you can play. You know, and it also comes with life experience. That's why a lot of drama schools will they turn down a lot of people because of age, because they just automatically assume because you're young you don't have that much life experience. So I'll say definitely go out, get yourself a job, mingle with new people, get to know people, work in different environments, go out and see the world, because that way you understand how people are. You can people watch and then you'll be able to embody. You experience hardships, you've experienced hope, you know, you experience all these different emotions. That way you'll be able to draw from it and play these different characters. So for me it's more, there's no one route. I think going to drama school, all these different places will just teach you, it will teach you tools on how to understand yourself more so that you can then draw emotions or, you know, it's all emotional memory. But if you don't have any experience of like what it's like to be in love, there will be that separation between you and the character. You become the character, that character becomes a part of you. So yeah, I would say go to like local drama classes, so you can just learn more about yourself.
It's interesting because like the embodiment factor, I'm so with you on that.
Okay.
Like I feel like as a storyteller or as someone who conveys emotions, human experiences, it's amazing to be able to put it's like empathy in a sense. So it's like I can empathize with this situation, this one, how you're feeling, and then demonstrate it. What I'm like also hearing though is like, to do that, it's better to go out in the world and like experience life as opposed to potentially go into a drama school. Maybe that's because I don't know what it's like in drama school, but in my head, when I'm hearing you say like embody it, experience it, feel what it's like in the world, in my head it goes straight to go outside rather than go into, say, a drama school. But
I mean,
maybe
you
I'm
can
wrong.
go to drama schools. I mean, they're there. I think they're very helpful. But me personally, I feel like you need to go out into the world, learn through interactions.
Yeah.
I think drama school will teach you it will teach you tools in terms of like, okay, reading the script, how to like dissect the script, understanding intention. But again, from going like I didn't go to like a traditional drama school, but I did study 3 years at a very, very, very good university that I personally feel had the same qualities. And I did go on to like identity. I mean, everyone goes to identity, all these different places.
I didn't.
You didn't? Okay, sorry. But it's attitude. Whatever you're open to, you will receive. Again, if you know yourself, you know what you bring to the table. It's more of you go there knowing they're not going to create me or make me. I know who I am. It's more so I'm learning how to understand the script better, understanding that, okay, before you go into learning the lines, you need to understand the full story. So read the damn play, the whole entire play. Because you're bringing stuff that has nothing to do with it. You start to bring elements. And if you don't know who you are, you're bringing a lot of things that add certain flavors that might not go with the character or go with the person that you're trying to portray.
Yeah, and I think it's also important to know who you are, because you can almost find yourself getting triggered by things that you don't even
100%.
realize that you are getting, or you don't know how to snap out of it. Because if you are going to be playing like a very emotional character or someone that's going through a very traumatic thing, it's also like how you safeguard yourself in a way. Because if you're going to give it your all, and it's going to be a brilliant performance, like you said, you are embodying this other character or this other thing that's happening, that if you don't know how to then return back to yourself, you might feel a bit, you know what I mean?
Like, 100.
Because I think I didn't go drama school. And actually I love the kind of times we're in now where there's so many people that are super successful that didn't go drama school either. It almost became like this thing. I don't know who said it, but it's almost like you're quite manufactured in a way if you go to a drama school. Not everyone though, there's still super talented people, but I do also believe in like some people are just born talented.
Yeah, you just got it.
Like I was watching Hot Ones today with Daniel Kaluuya. I just love him. I don't think he said he wasn't trained, so I don't think he went to drama school, but he probably went to like other the kind of other schools in a way, but. Yeah, I guess it's also like life experience, like you said. And that's why I think people that have come from maybe, quote unquote, maybe disadvantaged backgrounds, it's almost a bit of an advantage because you've experienced life. Do you know what I mean? Like, if now you have to play someone that's being traumatized, it's not great that you know what trauma is, but you can pull from those moments.
Yeah, you can tap into it,
as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I think drama school definitely helps in terms of tools. And like how you can quickly you got like Stanislavski and Brett. I remember I went to uni, even though they said they didn't like acting. I remember sat there. They're like, if you've come here to act, you're in the wrong course. I thought,
It was our first day.
I've already paid for my accommodation. Unless you thought, what am I here for? So, but anyway, but then also we did a lot of meditation and stuff as well, which I did, and Suzuki, all this stuff that I didn't understand. Why are we doing this hippie shit? But it was to understand ourselves.
Yeah, that's why I said we're literally
thing.
all actors. I feel like we're all actors. Like right now, we're playing the role of host, or friend, sister, brother, neighbor, all these different things. We just want to get paid to do what life is. Because at the end of the day, we still need to help outside. We still need to go for therapy.
Facts.
Drama school just teaches you how to understand yourself.
Yeah.
Breath work.
You see how you were talking about being, because we had a good conversation last pod as well about like the self and who are you and how you identify yourself. Like you've come in very strong to say you're a storyteller, which I think is dope.
Yeah.
And amongst like all of the different things that you have undertaken, I guess, throughout your life, whether it's acting, writing, painting, etc., how did you get to the point of saying I know myself? Like how do you, because you might have been quite young, and if you're, say, a young person who's trying to get into acting, and you do get loads of roles given to you, and you're trying to find yourself in these things, you might get lost in one of these characters or one of these ideas. So how did you kind of like say, okay, I know who I am, so if I get given anything, I know which parts of myself to give and deliver?
Oh, I would say, in all honesty, it wasn't until my cancer journey,
Okay.
because I was forced to look after myself, think about me, put me first. Again, feeling like you're the jack of all trades. A lot of it was second guessing myself when it came to doing one thing and then moving on to another thing. It was always having to try and fit a mold, you know, try and fit in, or people are getting a 9 to 5, or I'm a female, I need to focus on stability. Which money wasn't an issue, it was just more so, again, people's opinions, to the point where I let that affect my decisions. And then I went more into like serving. I don't think it's a bad thing, because it then I was then put into a position where I was doing a lot of behind the scenes work. Like, so I took a step back, rather than being centre of attention. It was more so that whole stability thing. I now went more into like producing, because I knew the contracts were a lot longer, all these different things. And it wasn't until I'm stressed out about, okay, why do I feel like I have to choose something, but it just doesn't feel right, and there was like this internal conflict, and that's what caused stress, and that's what made me sick.
Right.
Because there's no trace of cancer in my family.
Oh, really?
And I found out I was sick a year ago, actually.
Right.
Exactly a year ago, a little over a year ago. So it
Yeah.
was May bank holiday last year. But I knew that something was wrong with me during the pandemic, but it was so hard to get an appointment.
Oh my gosh.
Cool.
So it was,
Yeah.
again, I know something's going on, but everyone's telling me, oh no, take paracetamol for 5 days. I think, no, I trust myself. And started asking questions like, no, do I know who I am? I understand my body. Do I not understand my body? And then I had to like focus on meditating, just to feel a sense of like grounding. And then it felt like I was decluttering, because sometimes we tend to like consume so much information. We're watching so many shows, we're having so many conversations, so distracting. Especially as creatives, that we're constantly consuming so much for inspiration. We don't even realise we're doing it. A lot of the times we don't even realise where our inspiration comes from, but they come from our interactions.
But that moment of stillness, that's where you get that clarity.
It was like, whoa.
So, okay, because also a big part of your journey has now been overcoming cancer.
Stage 3 cancer.
So, where were you at that point in your life where, like you said, you were in the pandemic, you felt like you just didn't feel right? Just kind of explain like that kind of moment then, like,
So in actual fact, I had my son, so he's 2.
Okay.
So
Congratulations.
thank you. So in April 2020, so during the first lockdown, I had my son.
Wow.
And you become a new mum during the first lockdown, minimal help. Minimal help, not knowing, I mean, tomorrow's not certain anyway, but not knowing what was going to happen in terms of like the creative industry, in regards to if I'm going to see my family again, when am I going to see my family again? Becoming a new parent, can't do this, or we can't do this by ourselves, you know, it takes a village to raise a child. Not to mention, my body has physically changed so much. So there was all this stuff going on, and then it was like, oh, I feel this way. And I would ask questions to people that have already become mothers. Okay, is this normal? Like, so I experienced like extreme fatigue. At one point I thought it was postnatal depression.
Like right at the beginning.
Right at the beginning. At first I thought it was postnatal depression, and then it went into wake up sweating, like as in I literally had to change my PJs because I was drenched with sweat, and it wasn't even hot. I need a blanket when other people are like, oh, it's baking in here, and it was the other way around. So there's a lot of confusion. Appetite, didn't want to eat anything, and then the final straw was obviously the swelling in my neck. So some people can see like definition near their collarbone area. I've got before and after photos. So imagine seeing your body one way and then seeing it another way. I was like, no, there's something wrong.
Yeah.
So there was a mixture of confusion in terms of like people telling you, oh, the whole you not being able to sleep or you feeling this type of way, it's because of you just had a child.
Yeah.
Also COVID, even like the
exactly.
sweating.
Yeah. So I was
Yeah.
really confused, and I this doesn't seem right. So I was like, okay. So I have this internal thing saying, no, you need to go get checked. Something's
No,
not
that's
right. And I have
powerful.
people telling, yeah, it's okay. So I was like, no. I just need to be seen. So imagine back and forth with the NHS, convincing them, listen, I'm not a hypochondriac. I know that because it's one symptom after the other.
Is this before you had the lump in your neck as well?
Yeah, before.
Wow.
Okay.
So
yeah,
it started
yeah.
to affect my breathing to the point where, like, in the middle of the night, it just felt like I thought I was going to die because I literally couldn't breathe. So I called 111, went into A&E a few times, was waiting for hours, had like a panic attack. They gave me an asthma pump, told me to do this, told me to do that. Then it will die down, then it'll come back up again. I'm just thinking, what is going on with me?
At this point, and what are the professionals saying? Like the doctors, nurses, are they saying, oh, this could be X or Y?
It was literally just the asthma pump. It was like, just keep using it. And then it was, I think the thing that really threw me off was take paracetamol 4 to 5 days.
That's what doctors said.
Yeah. And I was like, what?
And you know what? There is also this thing of because you're young and you look healthy, then it's like, oh, it can't be. This. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, we won't test for that because you know whatever. And increasingly, there are a lot of younger people that they've had to pester like professionals.
You have to kick up a fuss.
Yeah, I know my body. Do extra tests.
Yeah.
Just so I know. Do you know what? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I'm not going to lie. Like, there was a I'll never forget. It was in November. I called because the swelling was really bad. Like it made it. I lost all confidence. Like
so you could physically see it.
You could physically see it,
Okay.
and I was starting to stress out about what to wear. Thank goodness it was during the winter, so I could wear a scarf. But it's like not every day you want to wear a scarf. Even indoors at someone's house, you're wearing a scarf. Like what is that?
So sorry. So wait. So professionals saw you and they could physically
So
see.
I didn't see. I wasn't seen physically
because this is also been the pandemic.
Yeah. So the lump showed up. So the lump showed up around October, November times.
Right.
2020. This is
So I had symptoms before. I had the fatigue, all that different stuff from April, even before April, maybe about December, January of 2020. Yeah, so 2020, 2021.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, and then so it was like towards the time has gone by so quickly. And then so it was towards the ending of 2022, so it would have been 2021. Yeah, the ending of end of 2020.
Cool.
So it was 2019 that I had
Right,
the
okay.
So mate, I'm just
No, what you're saying makes sense
But
right now. 19 into 20.
So because the year that I had my son was 2020, so it was not too long after. So the summer of that year, I remember I went into A&E in regards to like the breathing, and then towards the ending of that year, so it was 2020, November of 2020. That's when I noticed that the swelling had got really massive to the point where I couldn't wear certain t-shirts and stuff like that. And then I remember calling 111, and I was like, I really need to see someone. The guy said, because you're not gasping for breath, and you don't seem to be like physically, do you know what I mean? Because you're not gasping for breath, there's no point of you going into A&E because you'll be waiting around for a long time. And it was during, I think, he was like, because of that, I say take paracetamol. And I was like, listen, I need to see someone. And I remember him, he sent me a link for me to do like a video call.
Yeah.
And I was trying to show him, it was like, okay, take paracetamol for 5 days.
Oh my gosh.
And I remember like sitting there and I just feel like, no one's going to believe me unless I physically see someone. And I remember like it got to a point where, because I went quiet for a couple of months, it wasn't until May when I finally managed to get an appointment.
Wow. 6
because
months
my
later.
mum, 6 months later.
Oh my god.
But I remember for those 6 months, like I was at a very, very, very low point because it was like, no one believes me. I'm not being heard.
Yeah.
And you're still fatigued.
Yeah.
You have a child.
That I almost felt like I went into like a child part of myself.
Like you need the nurturing care and support of someone else.
After.
Yeah.
And I felt like I couldn't look after my son. That was literally what got me out of bed. It was his nappy needs changing. He needs to eat. So I'm grateful for that. Almost a sense of purpose is what got me out of bed. And then May, bank holiday, that's when I called. My mum saw me and she was like, well, like it felt like there was like a lid over my eyes. Like my eyes were so heavy. Physically, it affected my posture.
Wow.
Just how I was walking around, just how I was interacting with people. Something was going on. Something like my mum did not recognize me.
Yeah.
And then May bank holiday, I remember they had contacted my GP, and that's when I got invited in. But then there was a moment of, I think we made a mistake. It's meant to be a phone call.
I was like,
Wow,
come in.
no, you'll see me today.
I was already physically there. So I was like, I'm not leaving until I see someone. So I was waiting for about 3 hours.
Wow.
Finally she looked at me, she's like, we need to check for any abnormalities. I went to A&E. They found a mass in my chest.
Wow.
Through an x-ray, literally. So I'm glad that I did have to kick up. I had to kick up fast. Physically there, I'm just like, are you mad? Like, what do you mean? I've waited long enough. And I remember like I literally broke down. Like, enough is enough. Like something is going on. And my son needs his mum. Stood there, finally got seen, did an x-ray. They found, it was weird because the woman's, she couldn't even, I mean, normally they're professional, like they're able to like, okay, I'm gonna go away for a second. It was like they just saw like a massive like light in my chest. And I got sent down to do like a further CT scan just to find out what it was. And then that's when my life literally changed. It felt like a weight lifted because it was like, I'm not making this up. There's something there. And I went through like maybe 3 weeks of just pure bliss.
Wow.
Probably like the best 3 weeks of my life.
Wow.
Really,
it was like a weird, almost like feeling set free.
That like finally I'm believed.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm seen, and like everything I've been feeling isn't me.
That and
it's
also
this other thing.
That and also like being faced with mortality,
demon.
that I did like, oh my gosh, because again it's like, oh, I'm 20 at that point. I was 26. Like I'm 26. I just had a baby. I went through so many different like scenarios in my head. Like, this isn't fair. Oh, I thought I had time. All these different things. Like, why me? Cancer? Never thought this only happened in movies. So and then it was like so why not then? So I felt this sense of freeness, this sense of oneness, this sense of, oh, I can do anything right now because I don't know when that's going to be taken away from me. So let me just do. And then so then it was like, this sense of like bliss for like 3 weeks. And then it was like, oh, stage 3, and then it was like, oh, okay, this is real now.
So at that
still
point,
has to go.
Right.
I didn't get staged. It was just, you have cancer, you got a type of cancer. Because I as soon as they found the mass in my chest, I got admitted to hospital so they could do a biopsy. So they had to put they literally had to put like a needle in my neck where the lump was to pull a sample to try and diagnose, and it was a type of cancer called Hodgkin lymphoma. So it's related to like the blood and the lymph nodes. And there's 2 types. There's one non-Hodgkin lymphoma, which is a bit harder to like diagnose. Mine, because I had the swelling that was visible, that's why they were able to diagnose it. But then it was they did the biopsy, and I had to wait a few weeks and then do a further CT scan, and that's when I got staged. Stage 3. So it wasn't just my chest area, it moved to my groin area.
Wow. So literally from your neck all the way down to your groin
because we
area.
have lymph nodes around our body, so it's like pumping. So it was traveling.
So was there a part of you when you got told it was stage 3 that felt annoyed that I had been wanting to speak about this
to
someone?
Time,
How did you feel when you've gone from that moment of bliss, and then, like you said, you're told what stage is that?
That's when it felt like, oh, I went, okay, now we're back to earth again, grounded. Whoa, my body still has to go through treatment. I'm gonna lose my hair. It almost felt like I became one with the universe, and then it was like back into ego again. It was like appearance, self. This, my
Can I ask, sorry, in the 3 weeks of bliss, what were you doing?
Having conversations with people that didn't think I would see again. Even conversations that I never thought I'd have. Expressing love, just talking to people, getting to know people. Got my hair done, decided to, if I'm going to lose it, let me take that step and just do something crazy. I've played it very safe with hair. Like, I was really into hair, but I played it very safe, so I just went crazy with the colour. It's like, okay, I'm not going to let this rob me, let me do it. Took myself shopping.
Nice.
And that made me realise that I haven't actually I didn't go shopping by myself. I always went with someone, which influenced the kind of things that I'd get.
Yeah.
So again, that sparked the journey of understanding myself a bit more. A lot of it was literally just doing stuff that without fear.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, no, I'm going to have that drink. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Without overthinking it. Because like, okay, I don't know if it's going to be the end of me, so I might as well do it. But more so conversations.
Nice. So a lot of connecting with people.
I think people were surprised by my response.
Right.
Because you didn't seem like in a state of panic or something.
Yeah.
Or...
And I remember the doctors would say, like, hold on to that through your treatment, because that will get you on the other side in a very positive way.
Wow.
And it was tough. It was very tough. The journey was very, very tough.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what... Yeah, so I went through that.
So do you think, did you hold on to that? Was it
I did.
difficult? Like, now, tell us about like treatment and just your mental space.
So after the 3 weeks of Bliss, got staged, and not to mention, thank goodness, I feel like, my son was my blessing, because there was talks about fertility, if it would affect my fertility. And it was literally a couple of hours, if not the day before, I found out that it was stage 3. They didn't feel comfortable putting me to sleep to retrieve eggs because of where the mass was in my chest, and putting me under anesthesia, just to make me fall asleep. They didn't feel comfortable doing that. So just that, I think that's when it hit home, like, oh, a lot of things felt like it had been robbed. That sense of choice felt robbed from me. And then I found out on the Thursday. And then it was, oh my gosh, it's stage 3. Do you want to come in and start chemo tomorrow?
Wow.
It was quick.
Wow.
It was quick. I was like, no. I was like, no. So, okay, Monday then. So I had the weekend to literally mentally prepare myself.
Wow.
But I didn't feel like I even had enough time. I was still enjoying that.
Yeah,
and then it was
bliss.
like, we can't put you to sleep, so you can't save your eggs.
Wow.
And then it was that, oh, by the way, it's stage 3, so we need to start chemo. That's when it felt like,
Did they ask if you wanted to do chemo, or they just said, look, we need to do this chemo?
We need to do chemo.
Right.
Yeah.
Was that like the only form? Because I know there's different, but it depends on the stage of cancer.
Yeah,
like
so with
what
me,
forms of
they felt
treatment.
like I didn't need radiotherapy.
Right, okay.
And for me, and also because of my age, they try as much as possible to avoid radiotherapy because it causes more damage.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, it just felt like I didn't really have a choice.
Wow.
So it was Thursday, and then I had like literally 3 or 4 days to almost grieve a part of me that will no longer be. Which was interesting. It brought me closer to a lot of people.
What part of you did you feel you were leaving behind? Like, was there a specific part of yourself?
Just a sense of innocence.
Wow.
Because again, I did care a lot about, even though I could channel my creativity through like acting, music, all these different things, poetry, all that stuff. I still really cared a lot about other people and what their opinions of me, because of this whole jack of all trades, master of none. Felt like, maybe I should have just chosen but then it felt like maybe because I was so open to other people's opinions that I didn't have this sense of true self. And it almost felt like that sense of play, that childlike, feel like that was that. I feel like it just felt like I had to grow up. I had to be strong.
Wow.
In a very different way than I was used to.
Yeah.
Because it felt like, no, this is serious now. And I had to be strong. I knew I had to go through, it felt like I had to go through this because my son's only 2. The idea that I won't be around for him to make beautiful firsts, you know, it's like, oh no, like I have to do this. If not for myself, then for him, you know. So yeah, it just felt like that childlike part of me I had to let go of just to become a new person. Or this idea of who that person was. Which I felt...
Were you scared?
I was very scared. More so because I had people telling me like, oh my gosh, like, just people felt, that's why I had to
get other people's opinions.
I think also because I think, I mean, with cancer rates 1 in 2 now, everyone probably knows someone that's either had it, unfortunately passed away because of it. Like I lost my dad through cancer. I know people around me that have like had cancer and stuff. But yet, I feel like a lot of us don't know what we say to someone that's got cancer, because of what we know about it. It's like it's a horrible disease that fatality really is like it's a thing. Like it can really happen. Like, what kind of response? Okay, you said that you kind of distanced yourself from people, but what's the response that you would have wanted from people?
I had to set the tone.
Right.
Okay.
It was that keeping that optimistic attitude. That's what kept me going, to the point where I mean, it's hard because some people are in your energy and you don't know what they're going to say. But I'm a very good judge of energy, so I can sense when someone's going to come from a place of pity. So it was more so I did the best that I could to make sure that people didn't realize how sick I was physically. So it was look good, feel better, which became my crutch. Do my makeup, rock a nice wig. You wouldn't be able to tell that I was physically sick. It's not until I share my story, but I share it the way I want you to receive it. And then it's like, oh, don't feel sorry for me, because I don't feel sorry for myself. At first I did, but then it was like, no, I can't, because as soon as I get into that place, then it becomes a spiral of why me, and it was tough, like stuff being pumped into my body, and I had a device stuck in my arm throughout the whole duration, because I had 4 different drugs going through my veins. It was tough. I had literally 2 weeks to recover before I go in again for the next round. It was a lot, but what allowed me to maintain that level of optimism was going to, funny enough, the temple. The Buddhist temple.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So this time last year, a friend of mine was getting married, so I went to the nail shop to go and get my nails done. And I forgot to mention one of my symptoms was hyperpigmentation.
Okay.
So parts of my body was changing colour. It's still recovering now, but I don't think you can see sort of like my legs, underneath my legs. And chemo made it worse. So like my nails turned black.
Wow.
So I had to do something to make, so I'm not reminded of, so I would get my nails, my toes done, my nails done. My skin started to change colour, so I was literally doing whatever I could to feel better. I've lost where I was.
The Buddhist temple.
Yes, so it was the nail lady that said, are you sick? And I said, yeah. She was like, go to the temple, you need it. But I think it was beyond the hyperpigmentation. Sometimes people can tell.
Just as you said, you can read the energy of guilt.
You can read the energy. Sometimes I forget that other people can do the same. She knew that I needed to relax, because even there's times where she's painting my nails, she'd be like, no, just relax. You know, she's like, you need to go to the temple. And it's so crazy because in my journal, when I started a cancer journal, one of the first things that I wrote and asked for the universe for was for some sort of retreat. In my mind, I felt like I couldn't go to a retreat because I was still going through treatment, so I couldn't go away. But as soon as I was in a position of allowing, I was in a position where I could receive her message, which was go to the Buddhist temple. It took a while for me to actually just go out of my because I grew up in a Christian household. What am I doing in a Buddhist temple? Thinking like, oh, I don't want my family to start thinking, you know, all sorts. But I had to literally branch out and be exposed to something new. So it took, July of last year, August, September, around September times, where one random day I was walking through Bethnal Green and I was like, where's the closest temple? And I walked into the London Buddhist temple, which was in Bethnal Green.
I didn't even know there was one there.
Yeah, you should check it out. It's really cool. And first thing, there's a poster in there saying they have an urban retreat, and they were just about to start their lunchtime session, so I participated in it. 1 hour straight silence.
Wow.
The experience that I had was insane. Like it something happened. I know something definitely shifted, something I needed. And then once we had finished the session, the woman that was leading the session came over to me, and she was like, "Oh, you should come to our urban retreat." For some reason, she felt compelled to share that. I was like, "What's the difference? What is an urban retreat?" She's like, "Oh, you can participate around your lifestyle, so you don't have to go to a physical place. You can come into the Buddhist temple if you want to, and then they have like a schedule. So it's like morning meditation. You can even participate with their breakfast. Come in for the lunchtime, which is the one that I made. Well, like a session like that, like 1 till 2, and then they have like an evening class, which was like five days straight. And you could tune in online as well. Because I was going through chemo and I was at home, I wasn't working, I was able to physically go there. 5 days changed my life. Because I made the decision. That's something, because it wasn't someone forced me. Yeah, they exposed me to something, but I had to take that step. And I knew that I was in the position where I needed something. I knew that I needed something, and I was open. I was like, I just need anything. And it was more so, just that experience alone kind of brought me back to, you need to hold on to that positive space. If not, then you enter a place of darkness, feeling sorry for yourself, which is very low vibrational. Self-pity is low vibrational. And then just how maintaining that level of optimism, it was almost as it was attracting people of that same sort of frequency. And then my circle started to change. The kind of conversations I was having started to change. Self-talk started to change. That's when I started to realize who I am. I was like, oh, I know, more sense of self, even down to like my expression of clothes. Like now I'm comfortable, like I wear what I want to wear. Don't try and ask me, is that what you're wearing? It's like, no, I'm wearing this because I like to wear this. A lot of the times people are projecting their own insecurities, making you question. I'm like, no, I'm fine the way I am. There's a lot of that. So it was a journey of like self-love, self-discovery and acceptance. That I needed to be still.
Do you feel like you wouldn't have been able to have that without this specific experience, i.e. going to the temple, this 5-day retreat? Because you said before how you had practiced meditation in some formats as well. Do you feel like that was almost like the prototype, if you want, or the foundation of you being able to experience this level of, okay, now I'm really still, now I'm really in myself, that's enabled me to go to the level that you're at now in terms of understanding self?
I definitely needed it. I really feel as though the universe was trying to get my attention, but I'm so used to doing things a certain way that I wasn't listening. And it wasn't, because again, like I said, I wrote in my journal I needed a retreat. The one mentioned it in July of last year. I didn't go until September. So I was just distracted. Again, yes, I meditated for like 10, 15 minutes, sometimes 20 minutes at home, but you get caught up in life. And sometimes we do things, we have little moments or little, moments of like sparks and like, change, but I feel like it wasn't intentional.
It's more, the embodiment thing you were talking about before. That's why I hold on to that so much, because there's a phrase that I had before, which is embody rather than perform. And there's a lot of times where even for myself, like I'll say, I need to meditate, rather than the reason I do that is because of the actual outcome of doing such a thing, as opposed to doing the action just because I think I should do the action. So I think it's amazing that like this experience in itself kind of just accentuated that for you, where it's like, okay, it's going back to what you already know, but just affirming that, i.e. embody it. Don't just do it because you should or someone's told you. It's like, do it.
And you said something earlier about, I don't have the time. And I think almost really remembering that actually, I don't know what the outcome of this is. Reminded of something that we actually all know, that we're not going to be here forever. We don't know when our time is going to come. Almost, I guess, like you said, you stop caring about certain things. It's like, and I think that state of bliss and like that now how you live, I think that's where we're all trying to get to, really, because I think that's how you should be living, like knowing and honoring that there's gonna be a time that you're not here. You don't know when your last days are gonna be. You don't know when things are gonna change for you, and just to like wear what you want to wear, buy what you want to buy, be happy, tell people you love them, all of this. And it's so thing as well, because it's like it often takes us a lot of either almost traumatic experiences or really heightened experiences like that for us to get to that, when it's like that should just be like almost like the flat
standard.
That should be the standard. And it's almost now become too like hippie. Like why do hippie like that's adopted by hippies? Like you're a hippie if you think like that. Like oh, one love. Like why do we now live in a world where it's like we're knowingly taking advantage of ourselves and taking our time for granted and living in a way where it's like we don't care. Do you know what I mean? But then often a lot of us will respond in like a few ways if we're like in that position, whether you're gonna be like okay cool, or we fall into a state of pity. Like there's a lot of people that, well, I think if I was put in that position, I probably would really, really struggle, because I would be like, oh my God, why me? And I think it's really easy to fall into why me.
It is.
As opposed to then like almost like you said, like rise higher in a sense of like
strength.
It's really, and the thing is, I'm not taking away from anyone that is currently feeling like that, because it's
hard.
It's
as
hard.
you said, it's very, very hard.
Because you almost attach yourself, I guess, to things that can be taken away from you. But the one thing that can't be taken away from you is the self.
Exactly.
And then once you really travel back into that, then you realise, whatever happens, happens. Isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's so interesting that I need to check out this Buddha place.
I've been by it before. I haven't gone in, but I've been by it before.
Go in.
I've always loved the Buddhist,
the way of like
religion,
just Can I ask you a question? So with you now going to the temple and then you're also doing chemo at the same time, because some people are in like one or the other kind of school of thought and it has to be that. Do you find that doing both is what enabled you to be where you are today, for instance, or do you feel one really helps you more than the other, or is there other contributing factors for your healing journey?
I've not been to the temple in a few months actually, but I always go learn some tools, but don't get too caught up in the concept.
Don't be reliant on them kind of thing, innit?
Because I mean, too much of anything isn't a good thing. Just like I'm grateful that my parents showed me a lot of things in regards to that Christianity. Took what worked, move on. Same thing with encounters, relationships, work. Because if you get too caught up in the role, get too caught up in the concept, you lose yourself.
And you get attached.
And it's people do ugly things when that wants to break free. So for me, it was I learnt the tools from the Buddhist temple. I don't need to go back, but if I want to, I can go back.
Nice.
Just as a reminder of, because it's attached to something good, It did help me, what I learnt, because I learnt two things. Mindful breathing, which is something quite similar to what we learnt at uni. And the second one was loving kindness meditation, which is more, it's like metta, it's called the metta bhavana, which is sending loving kindness towards yourself, then to a close friend, then to a neutral person, to an enemy, and then to the world at large. I feel like the world needs that compassion. It's self and then branching out. And I think that's what helped me get back to that place of bliss and oneness, where I now see myself in you, and I see we're both different stages, but we're going on the same, embarking the same journey. So for me, I'm not caught up in religion, not caught up in concepts too tough, but I can learn from everything. But that's a choice. That is a choice. Like I'm giving it purpose, I'm choosing, like, okay, from my interaction, there's something that I can learn from it. Probably learn that, okay, I'm not going to do that, or I'm going to do this, But I think that's probably why people go into that place of, I feel sorry for myself, and then it's like, life is this, because they haven't given something meaning. It's like, what's the point? And it's scary, because once you go into that place, it's hard to get yourself back out of that. But yeah, the question was,
it was seeing if, I don't know, the Buddhist angle and the very like medicine or medicinal angle Did they work together?
Together. I think medicine will not work if your mind's not in receptive mode. The tools help me accept that this thing is helping me. And I felt a shift because I thought I wasn't going to finish the 5-day retreat because it started on a Saturday and it was meant to finish on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. And I remember I connected with a few people. So on the first day we had to turn and make a group of 5, and then we introduced ourselves, what we wanted to learn or gain from this experience, and then it kind of became like a little community. And then I remember sharing briefly that I was obviously going through chemo, and I was hoping that that I would gain some tools that will help me in my everyday life, so I don't have to rely on something. And then I remember sharing that I was due to go in for chemo on the Monday, so I didn't think I would make it. I would be well enough to, and because of COVID as well, like being around a lot of people, basically. Before, I used to be out of it. Like, I would need to be indoors for 2 weeks before going back into the hospital again. I couldn't interact with people. But that's how I knew something happened, because I came back the next day after going through chemo.
Wow.
That's why I knew something happened, and I trusted that. And that's what was like, nah. It was something I had to go within. So spirituality and science, I think, work hand in
Did the
hand.
doctors
They're friends.
or did like
Best friends.
did the nurses or whoever was like your point of contact in like the hospitals and that ever talk to you about your spirituality or anything like that? Because like
try
you
not
like
to.
kind of what you've said in a way,
Yeah,
like it
kind of
often seems like
separated,
it's
innit? Yeah.
separated.
They try not to, but they do have activities and stuff that they put, like they almost present to you in a very like laid back way, as because again it's choice. If you tell someone, we go the opposite way because we don't want to feel controlled. It's the same thing, and that becomes self-sabotage. But because we're so used to feeling babied and controlled, it's like, no, I want to do it my own way. And then it's like, but if you just present it like, okay, if you really want it, then you go out of your way to look for the answer or look, so there was a lot of they offer Tai Chi lessons, some sort of like meditation, but the classes clashed with my chemo, so I couldn't go. So again, I think the universe found a way to get me to get what I need.
Beautiful.
And then what was the rest of your journey like? Because like you said, you're clear. I think we have to.
Thank you very much.
Love it.
Yes,
Love it.
I guess. I mean, what was the journey? What was the rest of that journey like for you? And then also, when and how and where were you found out that like you were clear of cancer?
Okay, so I finished chemo in December of last year. Moved houses literally a couple of days after I finished.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm mad.
Wow.
Was that intentional or was that just
intentional?
Okay.
I needed.
So we really the oneness
it
was there. It's like we're getting up, we're moving. Okay.
Yeah. So I was literally just do, and I feel like if I wasn't in that state of mind, I would not have. The old me would not have. I still would have prolonged certain things because I thought I still had time. Now it was like, no, all the things that I always wanted to do, I'm in a position where I can do it.
Facts.
Doom. Moved houses. Then my birthday's at the start of the year as well. So it felt like New Year's resolution, new chapter. So I was still on a high. And then maybe about a month or 2 afterwards, because I was going through like a list of things that I've always wanted to achieve. And it made me realise that I changed so much that I didn't want some of the stuff that was on that list anymore. It almost felt like in order for me to if I get that, then it will make me happy. And I was like, I'm already at that state. And then I got maybe about ending of January, that's when I got the complete response call. It was a call. I thought I had to physically be there. It turns out it was a call.
Oh, okay.
To say that, cancer, there's no trace of cancer.
Wow.
And
when
it
was
was
that,
like
sorry?
January, ending of January. So
wow.
I finished chemo in December, and then I had to do a scan where because they did the scan before, and they do a couple of scans like every couple of months. After every cycle. So I had 6 cycles of chemo. So there's 2 sessions of chemo in one cycle, which is basically twice a month I would go in.
Okay.
Every 2 weeks. So every 2 weeks I'd go in. that's one cycle. A month is a one cycle. 6 months. So so it was after 2 cycles I'd go in and do a scan, and then the same thing will happen. So as you can see the progress.
Yeah.
So like halfway through they noticed that my body was responding to it,
Right.
but the meditation was more so like it allowed my body to just fully accept that the treatment was working, which was a shift that happened, which is what allowed me towards the end, which is what allowed me to like go in the day after I finished chemo. That's when I realized, my body's accepted that I am better, I am healed, it's working. So I got the call in January, ending of January. So I was still on that high, still like, I'm grateful to be here. Not everyone has made it through. Just seeing life in a different way. I got so much done. Did not recognize who I was. My wants had changed, distinguishing what were my wants and what was imposed on me, or what I felt like I had to do based on societal norms, like the whole getting married, doing this, all this kind of stuff. Like, no, we're all authors of our own stories, and your timeline is different to my timeline.
Facts.
And like, you might have potential, you might see me and you see potential in me, but that's something that you would do if you were in my shoes. That might not necessarily be my...
Exactly, yeah.
And then, so my wants were different. And then it was like a weird sort of, again, similar to like the 3 weeks of bliss and then back to grounded again. It was like, okay, I've had my like time to that, just enjoy, just be grateful and like enjoy that, I'm free now. And then it was like, no, back to life. Everyone's going on doing their own thing, congratulated, well done. And then it was like, I still have to be mum, I still have to do all these different things, which was hard because it was like the wigs, the makeup helped me then, they were good tools then, they no longer served me. After I got you're almost cancer free, it was like I need to accept who I am now.
Yes.
The hair's growing back now, so I need to accept what's underneath those wigs. That acceptance was hard. It was very, very hard because I didn't recognize myself. I didn't recognize who I was. I have a scar from where the PICC line was in my arm. So accepting that, like my arm's not going to look as clear as it was before. Obviously had a child, like stretch marks. So I'm learning to love myself again in a very different way. So it was almost like again, when I say like you go into like one extreme to like trying to adjust, almost do life as a human sort of way.
But I guess did you almost have to also like adjust with the whole like I don't need to be going to keep, because I guess if you're always at that
now your
consumes
routine's
a
completely
big
different.
part of like.
Well, I'm very good at letting go. I feel like detachment is something that I'm very, very, very good at. I didn't realise. Like, I thought it was a problem as well. It's just like it's almost like I'm very good at like once I don't hear like, because I'm aware that we're all like different. I think the pandemic also really made me confirm that, because it was like we were all in the same boat. The whole world was going through something, so I couldn't even be like, that person didn't call me for like 6 months. Oh my gosh, like I'm not gonna speak to her again. No. So I'm so used to like, okay, things happen. Just get on with life. So for me, like there wasn't like a sense of like it's gonna feel weird, like it feels weird not going into the hospital. It was almost like a sort of
that's done.
Move on. But I think for me it was just more so I had changed so much that people didn't recognize me, which is something that I've literally just overcome. Sometimes people don't like change. They'll try and do whatever to put you in a position that made them feel comfortable. And it was that realization that some dynamics were not healthy.
Definitely.
Which was tough.
So was it more like in a way of like, not you physically changed, but I guess just your
mindset, perspective on life,
that where they might say something to you and expect you to respond in a certain way, and now you're making them feel uncomfortable because you're like,
I'm not giving back, or
I'm
not accepting,
or like, well, no, you challenge them a bit more. I feel you.
I think that's a testament to your letting go nature as well, because like a lot of it is based off of, I don't know, I call it programs basically, where people run on, okay, this is what the habitual nature is between you and that other person, but you being able to kind of let go of things, a lot of people struggle with that, like not being able to say, okay, this is different, or I'm gonna let go of the Lizzie that I knew to allow Lizzie to be who she actually is, kind of thing. Because I think that's part of human nature. But I feel like from everything you said, you being able to see yourself and see how you have been and see who you were to become the self that you see yourself as now. There's too many selves in that. The self you see yourself as now is that's real growth in my eyes. Like to be able to let go of who you were. But I think the fact that you're able to see in other people how they might want to restrict you as well is a really big thing to say, because a lot of people don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear how they are holding you back or restricting who you could be as well as who you currently are. So thank you for even just saying that on the microphone, because that's big.
Yeah. And also just thank you for sharing this whole journey, because that's something that was very intimate to you.
Yeah, that's the first time I've actually
really
spoken.
Wow. And you felt comfortable.
You did that
because
just
quite a few people have asked me, can you share? I was like,
Yeah.
it didn't feel like the right time.
Really?
Now it feels like the right time.
Oh, I love
I
that.
appreciate that a lot. Yeah, that's an
Thank you
honor.
so
Honestly,
much.
that's an honor.
Because there'll be people listening right now that need to hear
Facts.
everything
I hope
that you
so. I
said.
hope it does. Like, just, I think again, like sometimes people have this idea of like not sharing, just doing your own thing, and act like, I think there's power in sharing.
Definitely.
Obviously, when
Definitely.
you're ready,
Yeah.
because you don't want you bring up something and you realize that you haven't dealt with
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
because
yeah.
that can start something completely different. But for me, I feel like I'm at that place. I'm in a good place where I can say, no, I've accepted my journey. It no longer has a negative hold on me.
Yeah.
It's that I've overcome something,
Absolutely.
and hopefully by me sharing, it will kickstart someone's awakening, or it will allow someone to maybe like listen to that inner voice that's telling them, maybe you should go and get checked, or maybe you should just spend some time getting to know yourself.
Your body, yeah.
Yeah, and knowing your body.
Yeah. Was that, can I ask, because in terms of like creativity,
Yeah, I was literally going to go there.
throughout your journey of healing and going through chemo and all of that, was there what kind of music were you listening to? What art were you consuming? Like, how much was creativity a part of that for you?
Oh, massive part.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the power of sharing, power of music. Music is so powerful. That's why I love Spoke.
Oh, thank you.
Because it's deeper than the physical. It goes deep into your subconscious. That's why I'm very mindful of the stuff that I feed myself. And again, it's frequency. So if you're surrounding yourself, or you're filling yourself with like low frequency music, best believe your body is storing that information, and you don't realize how, again, with like acting, how it affects how you move. It affects, imagine posture. Think about we wake up, it's gonna be a good day, you're more open. Think about where you're not so confident, how that affects. Music goes deep. I was listening to a lot of like sound healing,
Nice.
Tibetan music, gospel music, something that just brought, like, just reminded me of faith, again, doesn't matter what religion. I listen to a lot of, and it's not even the lyrics, it's more so the melody. It's the sounds. There's certain sounds that really resonate with me. Classical music, again, it takes me to a place, I just flow with the notes. It brings me a sense of peace. It's almost similar to like meditation, where you get so lost in that, the beauty of the next note and the next note. You're not anticipating what the next, you're just here, you're just in the present moment, just taking it in. I know, I'm pretty sure you know about the zone, when you're just flowing. Yeah.
Sick.
And
like,
go
go on.
on.
You sure?
Yeah, go on.
Okay, I was just going to ask Sophie, you yourself as a creative as well, like how did, I guess the last few years, your cancer journey, being a mum, the pandemic, how has that affected you and your perspective on your own creative, or being a storyteller actually, because that's what you said.
Music again.
Music.
Me, how I write, how I embody characters, how I do character work, I create a playlist. So I read the play, or I have an idea of like what sort of style or theme I want to focus on. So say for example, I'm writing a play or writing a poem or whatever, I'll create a playlist. Sometimes an idea will pop into my mind, maybe like a word, so I'll like YouTube a word and I'll listen to the sounds, and then it sorts of, it almost like sends me in a different direction, and I feel led until I I just listen to so many different things, and I feel like now it's time for me to write because I have a playlist and I play that on repeat until I finish the project. So music has been something that is very like has like driven my creative process even more. Before I thought, no, this is weird. Like, who puts the same song on loop until you?
I do.
I do. I was about to say I do that. Yeah, no, for real. Like,
I love it.
I listen to songs until I'm sick of the song. Like that's me.
Same.
I'm that person.
Yeah, same.
Okay, so I thought I was
No, you're with us.
Yeah, so that I would literally do that. Imagine painting, play the same damn song until I finish the project. Can't go back to it with a different song. It's not. There's something. It invokes an emotion. It invokes something. So yeah, music. I'll say music has been a massive part of my creative process. Now I've learned to embrace it. Before I thought, okay, my taste in music is very, very weird. Like sometimes I listen to like some Hindi music. It's more so not even the lyrics. I don't understand what they're saying half of the time, but it's like there's something about the melody and the different string instruments and like the African a cappella. That's very just thinking about it, you know, that the harmonies is something so beautiful about music that speaks to the soul. And
that's why in film scores are so evoking. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, watch some of those epic films and put it on mute. It ain't gonna be.
There's a science behind all of that as well.
It's
the music.
It is music.
Yeah,
100%.
It is music. So yeah, like that's been something that literally inspires me. I don't know how I can function without music.
So is there something, I mean, creatively now, what is your outlet? I was going to say, is there something you're working on, but I'm thinking of the idea that we're not human doings, we're human beings. So after this,
you thought you had something with that. No, you made me my glasses and everything. Wow, that's the karma.
What's your creative outlet right now?
Ooh, again, I'm just doing so much at one time right now. I'm enjoying it.
So it's almost like this same Lizzie.
But I've accepted it.
Yeah. I'm doing
I do
everything.
whatever. Yeah.
Allowing yourself to.
I'm sharing my story. So I'm writing, I'm almost transcribing my journal.
Right.
Yeah.
As a play, screenplay? I was gonna say, because as you were telling me this, I was like, I would love to watch this. Yeah. So,
100%.
okay.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with that.
Okay.
I'm producing the very first Jamaican patois monologue book.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah, so a friend of mine, her name's called Raya Seeley, she wrote a book called The Actors Monologue Carousel.
Okay.
So it's literally written first in Jamaican, so you have like 20 monologues, maybe 20, a bit more than 20 monologues in patois, and then there's like an English translation. Try to encourage people to just be more authentic, with, at different stages. So that's exciting. And there's a few other things that I cannot say.
Oh,
okay, yeah, hold on to them.
Yeah, I cannot say.
Can you give us a sneak? A hint?
No.
If people wanted to like find out, where could they do that?
Go?
Oh, Instagram.
Okay.
Drop me a DM on Instagram.
Where is your Instagram?
Yeah, tell us, man.
So tell us so we can put it here.
Is that-
In the virtual world. For those just listening audio, we're talking about on YouTube.
So my Instagram, from the top of my head, is at Lizzie, Lizzzie, and then my surname Adejimi. And I also have a separate page for like my events and stuff and creative community called Loop and Link. Which is their Instagram is at
dope time.
That's at LOOPNLINKHUB Loop and Link Hub on Insta. Yeah.
It's a vibe. It's a turn up.
Even spell?
Yeah. Do you know, before we quickly go into our in facts recommendations or opinions, which I'm going to freestyle, is there anything you'd like to say to anyone listening right now?
Oh. Be careful who you surround yourself with. Be mindful. Because you will soon become that which you surround yourself with. You almost master that. So if you want to be a master of whatever, then surround yourself with things that will allow you to become the master of that. And also listen to that voice inside of you. Learn to trust that voice, your intuition, because it has not failed you. It never will fail you. I mean, at first, you might second guess it because you've not trusted it enough. But spend time trusting your intuition, and it will save you. It will help you. It will bring abundance, and it will lead you to the right people.
Wow.
The right places.
Yeah.
Yes. That reminds me of our last episode when I thought I discovered the sixth sense. I was like,
Oh my
I almost
gosh.
feel like people have that other sense. You know, your five senses. There's almost that. I was like, oh my
She
god.
literally had a brainwave. Like, you see the light bulb above her head when it happened.
what
Oh,
I
God.
No, you didn't.
I thought, especially when I was a child, because I thought, oh my god, my intuition. But thank you so much
Yeah,
for
Lizzie,
sharing
amazing.
that.
Oh, thank you for having me.
And also the way you shared it as well, like, because I thought, am I gonna get emotional? Because I'm very like, if you get emotional, I'm gonna get emotional too. But it's just, yeah, again, testament to you really accepting and owning your journey and just sharing that in such a clear,
Yeah.
beautiful way where I feel like
you
we've
guys
Like,
are
yeah, I
in a
was just
very safe
following
space
you.
to do
Oh,
so.
thank
So
you.
thank you.
No, and thank you again
Yeah.
for choosing this as
Yeah.
your moment to actually
Yeah.
like
I know.
start the telling of the story.
I
'cause,
feel like
you know,
you
just said
trust
you're writing
us
it.
with
I
this.
do.
That's
really.
good.
Safe space, man.
I feel so
I'm done.
right. Let's go into the
In facts or in opinions.
Yes.
/ recommendations.
Yes.
So this is just a very short section where each of us will give either a fact that we know, an opinion on something, or a recommendation that we want to share with people.
Okay.
So, Amelia, would you like to start?
Do you know what? Yeah, I have a recommendation. I recommend to people when they wake up in the morning, to not touch their phone, to go outside without your phone for however long you need, to just have that time with yourself. I feel like we are being we're giving too many things, too much access to us all the time, that we don't even recognize the value in our own time and energy, because we're just giving it to whether what we're consuming on our phones, the TVs, whatever. But like, if you've got like an old school Walkman or whatever, because also I've been going around listening to like positive frequencies, and the way that just changes your mood instantly.
Yeah.
Like, my mum must have thought she thinks she's having a spa in her room because I was playing what is that? But you just instantly feel so much calmer. It brings you back to yourself, all of that. But I think we're becoming way too at service to everything else, that we're not giving ourselves the time that we need. And the morning is your time, and just before you go to
100%.
bed is your time.
Those are the
like,
key bits,
don't
yeah.
let, because they're all complaining we're working for the man, you know, but like, we're giving everyone our time. Like, guard it, man. And that means people can't access you. Do not disturb.
Wow.
That's my
No,
recommendation.
I'm with
Thank
that.
you.
I'm with
Who would like to go next?
Do you want to go next? Okay, cool. I'll go next. I have a recommendation as well.
Because we have no facts.
Yeah, no facts today, innit? My recommendation is, particularly for any young creatives, there's a really good organization called Hearts of Talent that I've been an ambassador for.
Oh.
And they had their final very recently. And the level of talent, for lack of a better word, the level of talent
And
from...
heart?
And heart. The level of heart and talent from the finalists. I know there was loads of people that entered, but the finalists in particular, I was blown away. Like, there were acts that literally made me shiver, like changed my physiological state when I heard them. And just seeing how much they cared, seeing how much, shout out to Jasmine Dell, the organizer of everything that happened, how much she just wanted to make a good connection between different generations, different types of creatives, the police, the NHS, people of the community, bring them all together. And it was in Wembley Stadium. It's like 2 years of time and effort, but they will be doing, I think it's their third season. So this was second season. They will be doing a third season. So if you are a young creative, if you're a parent of a creative, or if you just care about your community and young people, I implore you to go and check out Hearts of Talent.
Okay.
Lizzie.
Even though I feel like you've given us so many recommendations.
I
there's no
was actually going to
pressure
say,
at
if
all.
there's like a name of a particular Tibetan music, for instance, or
Yeah.
any songs or art that got you through your healing process in particular, that would be sick.
Set an exercise.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah,
yeah,
okay.
yes.
Whip out your phone whenever you're comfortable and ready, and share your story to yourself.
Okay.
Say it out loud from the beginning, whenever you can remember, up until this point. And whenever you feel ready, listen back that's how you know, number 1, you've healed, number 2, where you're at, number 3, what you need healing.
So video record. I mean, voice record.
Voice record. Because you'll be able to listen back and hear how you speak about yourself, how you speak about your
So
experience.
is it in third person?
I went through this when I was...
Right.
However,
Yeah.
if you want to do it in first person, third person, do it. It's a tough one.
Yeah.
It's a tough one, but
I
do
can
it.
imagine.
Go from
Some
as
people
young
might
as
not
you
get
remember.
past a certain point
Yeah.
because they can't.
But you have to be honest, lay it all out. I say voice record rather than video record. If you can video record and watch yourself back,
Kudos.
Forget that.
do
So
it.
you did this.
Yeah,
How long was yours?
about 15 minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
Because there was moments where I got really emotional, and there were other moments where it's so crazy. Like as you're telling yourself your story, you almost start to remember things that you didn't.
Yeah.
Self-therapy
Yeah.
Wow.
or journal.
Wow.
Write it down if you can. But I think writing it down, you start to get caught up in spelling mistakes and all that
Yeah,
stuff. So
probably,
I'd say like literally just say it out, because that way you are literally saying out your inner monologue that is telling you exactly what your current reality state is, and then you'll be able to listen back and actively go and make positive changes.
I'm going to do
Amazing.
that, this week.
No, that's
Let me
dope.
know how you get
I
on.
will.
That's dope.
I actually wanted to add one more just before we go, and
Go
I
for
feel
it.
like it ties in beautifully to what we've spoken about. Everything, everywhere, all at once.
What a film.
Have you watched that film?
No.
Yeah,
Right,
go
it's not
and
in the
watch
cinemas
that.
anymore.
Yeah, I saw it. It's in Rich Mix actually.
Oh, is it
Yeah,
still
it's
there?
still there.
Everything,
Yeah.
everywhere, all at once. It is a beautiful film about time, about love.
Mhm.
Oh, it's
The multiverse,
it's
like-
weird,
Yeah.
but it's
I
wonderful.
can imagine.
It's hard to like really tell you what happens.
Yeah.
Because
So many
everything
things
happens.
happening, I can imagine,
Everything all at once. Yeah,
literally, but
So,
it's. I think the main thing is about love and kindness.
Yeah,
but it's
100%.
beautiful, and I cried too much in that cinema.
Babes.
I cried too much. I was by myself anyway, so I let it
I
all
saw it by
out.
myself as well.
Yeah,
it's a good film.
we
Did
should
you
have
on
just
your
went
own?
together.
I know, what's
Actually,
going on?
I've not cried in front of you, have I?
I thought you must have. Maybe you
Why?
haven't.
Why
actually.
must have I?
'Cause I thought you
I'm-
told me. I know your emotions so well. I feel like I must have
definitely
seen
cried,
it at
but
some
not
point.
actually in front of you.
Maybe
I think
not
that's a
then.
very intimate thing to cry in front of someone. I welcome it though. People can cry in
I
front
think
of
it's a
me.
very strong thing to
Yeah,
do.
I welcome it. I think if you cry in front of me, I'm like, what's the word? I feel complimented that you feel that comfortable with me.
Okay,
I know
cool.
it's I'm not like there. But anyway, I'll give you a hug.
Oh,
I'm like,
man.
don't worry about it, babe. We got this. Anyway, thank you for today.
Lizzie Adejimi,
Yes.
thank you, man.
Thank you so much, and shout out to the Cube.
Hey.
Always shout out to New Motion.
I looked
Always.
up like
Oh yeah,
Which cube is this?
to New Motion.
always,
Shout
always.
out to
Gang,
them,
gang.
and shout out to you.
And you.
Thank you.
But thank you again, Lizzie.
Yes.
Yes. That's a sign out. Because
That's it.
there's nothing else to
That's it
say.
now. Who's
Yeah,
gonna
yes,
press it?
thank
Because
you.
I'm scared if I
Go
move
on,
this
you can
dress,
do
it's
it.
gonna reveal
Lizzie,
it
do you
all.
want to do the honors? Just press the big red button
Why
there.
are we getting the guests?
My intuition's telling me I never listen to myself. I should probably listen to myself. That position I was in, if I'd have listened, maybe I could help. I always knew that you were a bad egg, but I fell for your